Oh, 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 everybody say, oh, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are. You're my everything. See, I call you Zion. Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Oh, uya matinyana. Yeah, so uya. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Yeah. Uya matinyana. Oh, uya matinyana.
Hello, lovely people. Another Saturday afternoon is here with us, and we're live on BWTV, bringing you the community and the law. My name is Oreku Frimpong. Now, this afternoon, I have something very real interesting up my sleeves to share with you, and we're going to have a discussion on the topic, the law of intestacy. I have said in the past, and I want to say again, that we'll come into this world and go out. Now, what we do in between coming in and going out is pretty important because you would want people who would stay behind you to carry out the wishes that you have. When you do not put that in a document and in a legal form, what happens? We will be looking at intestacy and also to get into the nitty gritties of that and to find out how your dependents and your loved ones may lose out. The senior partner of BWF Solicitors is our resource person and guest. And with that, I say to you, let's get into it together with the community and the law.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
When you've got Akasi Pong, Minister OJ, Alexa Champong, and Diana Hamilton, what have you got? It can only be the return of Emmanuel Praise, brought to you by Alexa Champong Ministries. On Sunday, 26th of May, at the Pavilion, 143 to 145 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY. Doors open at 5. Tickets are £30 standard, £50 VIP, which includes your VIP seat, meet and greet and take pictures with artists, VIP snacks, water and drink, and an under 18 concession rate of £15. Get yours at alexachampong.com or call +44 744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Minister OJ, Akasi Pong, Diana Hamilton, and Alexa Champong. You will be blessed.
Hello, lovely people. I am so excited to have you around once again. Another Saturday is here, and when we get to a point like this, I know that you are also ready to come learn with us. And we're doing this by courtesy of BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. So when it is that you're talking about your immigration issues, we're talking about any legal issue, and you want the trusted organization to support you, then you go to BWF Solicitors, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters. That's where they are, on the 4th floor of the Anna House. They work Monday to Friday between 9:30 in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. And what does that they do is they give you the confidence to pursue everything you have to pursue when it comes to the law, especially with immigration matters. BWF Solicitors, we thank you for your kind support. And to you out there, I thank you for your time. We're live on Facebook at BWF Solicitors and at BWTV. And again, also on YouTube at BWF Solicitors and all the social media platforms. And what I want you to do when you come online, let us feel your presence, as I've seen so many people do it now. And when it is that you have announced your presence, please like the page, pick up the link and share so others will also benefit from the wealth of knowledge that we're going to delve into. It's another Saturday here with us. And what are we going to do? We're going to have a discussion on the topic, the law of intestacy. How you would want your people or people you leave behind to benefit from your wishes. But we're also going to look at how your dependents and loved ones may lose out if you don't write a will. The technicalities are going to be looked at, and I'm so privileged to have the senior partner of BWF Solicitors, Mr. Bernard Owusu, Uncle Ben, we call him, to be with me on the show. Uncle Ben, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. We haven't had the chance of wishing you happy birthday in person. A couple of weeks back, you were away, and rightly so, you needed a rest. But On behalf of everybody, we want to say happy birthday to you. May God increase your wealth, your glory, and experience and everything, so that people who have benefited from your experience would also say, yes, God has blessed them through you.
I'm really appreciative. I think the highest honor is people praying for you, and for me, that's powerful. The many messages that I receive, especially the prayers that people say. I think when you get to a station in life, worldly things, although may mean something to you, what really you look forward to is, your connection to God and the things that brings your life into fruition. Clearly, the powerful messages are what keeps us going. And I am very grateful to the many, many people, especially the video that you organized and it was put out. I didn't know that people were sending video messages, and clearly, I was really touched. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
they did it all around you. That's what we're doing that. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to the organization BWF Solicitors. And let's say thank you to them. And when we come back, we pick up the community update and then again our nugget for the week. Remember, later on in the program, our quiz competition will be coming. And today, I will give you a clue. We will be talking about this interstacy thing. I'll give you a scenario and give you three options to choose from. It's all live on BWTV and the program The Community and the Law. We'll be right back.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Thank you very much for sticking around and welcome. Let me, first of all, also acknowledge the people who have joined us on the platform. Tilly Duma, thank you very much. You have always started the whole show for us. Thank you so very much. Hello, lovely family, you say. Ebenezer Omoano. I hope I got it right. Good afternoon, Lawyer Ben. Yes, Uncle Ben is here. Good afternoon to you, Ebenezer. Eric Kwabna Santi says, good evening, everyone. Tilly starts by calling out people. Nana Ajiman, Senior Minister Brawai. The class is going on. Thank you very much. Kofi Backman. Yours is here. Good afternoon, everyone. You say, Mame Ajimang, good afternoon to you as well. We have Debbie Jesse. Debbie, good afternoon to you as well. Nana Ajimang, yes, you have responded. You're also calling out Gina Eduse to come on board. Michael, are you there? Till is calling you. Bigel Osei Mensa, please come on board. Sandra Pinzo, you also being called out to come on board. Nana Bob, where are you? Tilly is calling. We move on to Nana. Yeah, hello everyone. We are here waiting for you. Kofi Backman says, happy belated birthday to you, Uncle Ben. Thank you very much for doing that on behalf of everybody. Nana, my Uncle Ben is still in the birthday celebration mood. His voice is too low. I know. It will come up. Sandra Fraser, good evening, says you say thank you to Sandra. Good evening to you. Good evening, all. Please share when you join. We appreciate you all. Thank you very much. We believe that things will go so very well for all of us. So come on board and let's do this together. BWF Solicitors is right here, ready and available to provide us with all the knowledge and the experience, and of course, the updates that will help us do what we have to do when it comes to the law. Paisley Kusi, good afternoon to you, Paisley. Then on YouTube, I have Gloria Asantewa. Good evening, sir. Gloria, thank you very much. I believe that we all so set and ready. So let's pick up what updates there was earlier in the week. Now we go on to look at this. Mind the absence from the UK or consent of an EU citizen. Now, what it says that the absence of an EU national from the UK or their lack of consent to a family member joining them may affect a family member's application or where they already have a EU family permit or visa. It may be cancelled on arrival in the UK. Always seek legal advice if you are confronted with these issues. This was based on the case MD and others joining, that is Appendix EU Family Permit Ghana 2024, all ERD 128 or 2024 UK UT 64 IAC. It's a bit complex from all the jargons and the rest of it. And that's why the advice goes contact our expert lawyers if you need further assistance on 0208 493 7340 or the emergency number 077 127 61884. Uncle Ben, what is this talking about?
Well, so usually we will have EU national family members.
Okay.
So those applicants will not be EU members, they will be family members. And usually will be connection through marriage. So maybe a father and his children, so their stepmother will be an EU national with residence in the UK. Or it may be a mother and her children and their stepfather will be an EU national. In this case, it was a father and his children and their stepmother was an EU national. Once your father is married to an EU national, both under Appendix EU 11 and EU 3, and also the annex to definition refers to you as a family member. And therefore, if you are a family member and the EU national is here, then you can come and live here. But when you look at the law, it says either traveling with or joining. And the concept of traveling with or joining is such that it's not your father who is a non-EU national, but married to the EU national, but is the EU national. Okay. And therefore, if the EU national is not here, or the EU national is here, but they haven't given consent, or have withdrawn consent, then it becomes a difficulty. In that case, the case of Dia, all the kids were Dia, the man is a Dia. He was married to an EU national, he had his residency, applied for his children to join him, and they were given EU family permit. Unfortunately, when they arrived at the airport, they were stopped because the woman had previously been interviewed and she said she's withdrawn her consent. Although the marriage was still subsisting, clearly it was not something that she had given consent.
Okay, so in this instance, what we are trying to put across is there may be technicalities. There may be issues with what effects that you have with you. And the advice here is if you are in doubt, please seek legal and expert advice. And I will advise you to come to BWF Solicitors on the fourth floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218, Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters, North London, 0208 493 7340, or the emergency line 077 127 61884, 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, I keep saying, I want to say again and repeat, they are our trusted partners when it comes to the law. So trust them and things will go for you. Now, our nugget and update has come through. Let's go on to, I think this is that bit. This is the mind the absence. So let's go to the other bit that will talk to us about uh, the the bit of interstacy. Maybe that would kind of introduce us to our topic. Now it says under section 90. No, I think we getting this. That was what was brought in last week. Let's see if we can get it from here. Yes, if someone dies without leaving a will, what happens and how do we deal? How do we deal with a situation like that? Now let's look into it. If someone dies without leaving a will, then their estate will pass by way of the intestacy rules. First, in the order of priority, and depending upon whether the deceased had children who survived them, a spouse will receive the largest share, sometimes all. Divorcing couples must therefore ensure they receive legal advice while going through divorce, because until a final divorce order is pronounced, you are still married, and your estranged spouse may inherit all your estate. An unfair outcome, some may say. And when I know it dovetails into our discussion, but briefly, what does this one say?
Okay, so this is part of what we call the intestacy rules. And the intestacy rules obviously means that someone is deceased and the person hasn't made a will. And clearly, if you're going through marital issues, it's the best time to look at your will or the best time to drop your will. In this case, when divorcing couples haven't settled their final order or divorce order, we used to call it decree absolute. And even if they've got an initial order or conditional order, which we used to call decree nisi or nasi, it means that the marriage is still subsisting, it's not been dissolved, although the court is acknowledged that the marriage has difficulties. So what we always tell people, and when we do our letters to clients, one of the advice we give is that once you've decided that your marriage is faulted and you're going through divorce, you need to review who inherits your assets. Because if you don't, and we will see from the case scenario, the person that may have caused you harm, albeit she or he might be a loved one who obviously, because the relationship is broken down, you're going through divorce processes, may inherit you. That will be an unintended consequences. Clearly will be unfair, especially if you have children from a previous relationship and they have witnessed the violence or potential violence that this person has meted on you.
Okay, so in effect, we will be looking at the definitional issues. We will definitely be looking at how the will may or may not look like, and of course, some of the consequences that you face if you don't make one. So stick and stay, and if you will, get your pen and paper ready and get on there. But if you have any question, if you have any concerns you want to bring up, when the lines are active, we will allow you to call in on 0208 493 7345. And Uncle Ben is right here to help you get your answers and get your questions and concerns addressed. It's all about learning and doing it right And we're doing this by courtesy of BWF Solicitors. So stick and stay with us. Now, I think to help us have a lot of time to look at this whole topic, and then let's delve straight into it and ask ourselves what interstacy is all about. If we say interstate, what are we talking about?
So when we say intestate, it refers to two things. One, that somebody is dead, and two, the person has an estate, but there's no will.
Okay.
Okay? So somebody must pass. So the person is dead, and then the person didn't write a will. However, there might be instances where the person has written a will, but the will has failed, or part of the will has failed.
Okay.
For example, if I have 10 properties and I bequeath 8 properties, but I wrote the will before I acquired the 2 extra properties, and I don't bequeath the 2 other properties, then when I die, the 8 will be distributed under my will, but the 2 will fall into intestacy. So intestacy does not mean a complete absence of will.
Okay.
It means that specific to those assets of yours, there are no written instructions of who should receive what.
Well, there's a technical angle here, and if you may, I'll ask it that I write a will when I was 50 years old. I turned 60 and I may not have updated the will. Could there be a clause in the initial will to say that any other property that I acquire beyond this point could be distributed under the formula I have put in the initial will?
Okay, so a good will, that's how you write a good will.
Okay.
So a very good will says that, this asset, I have distributed it this way. However, any other asset or legacy that comes during my life, this is how it should be distributed.
Okay.
And, people who like to prevent that, and I always cite my father-in-law as an example. All he said is that all my assets should go to my children and my wife. He doesn't want trouble. It's done. So the assets.
How they distribute that among themselves, he doesn't care.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It solves a lot of things, but also if the kids are not united, then you have a problem. I mean, some families, obviously, the kids are united, but we always say that you need to devise the gifts specific to the individual, so that you don't have issues when you're gone. Because, listen, I have seen it all with cases that I've been involved in, including where the person is buried. It's very crucial that these are things that you indicate, you write down. We've covered will writing before and what amounts to a valid will. Today we're looking at what will happen if you don't make a will, and we're looking at a very unfair scenario of somebody who's caused you harm, and maybe the reason why you may have gone into hospital and through that died, and the person inherits everything without your children.
Right. So we have seen a situation where there may be a will, but part of it may not have been covered in there. So part of the estate may be considered under interstacy. Now let's look at where we don't have it at all. What happens? We may want to look at it from the UK jurisdiction.
Okay, so UK, we have 4 countries. We have England, we have Wales, we have Scotland, and we have Northern Ireland. So Wales and England usually go together when it comes to law. And that's why we say the English common law. So common law is for the English. Scottish law is totally different. And sometimes the Scottish law departs from the English law. And every law you're reading, unless it's immigration law, which applies to every part of the United Kingdom, there are things which are specific. Even within immigration law, if you take care, for example, we have CQC in England. In Scotland, it's a different body. So we're talking about England and Wales specifically when we come to intestacy. The intestacy rules, which is section 26 of the Administration and Trustees Act, defines the priority of inheritance. So if you are married and have children, the priority of inheritance, if you don't have a will, is your spouse that obviously inherits you up to £270,000 as at today's date. So everything up to 270, they take it completely. Everything above 270, okay. So everything above 270, including your estate, your assets, but they take 270. Everything which is a personal chattel. So when we say chattels, we mean the spoons, the ladle, the furniture, they take that completely. And then those above 270, they have a life interest. So they take 50% of what is left over. And then your children will take 50%. Now, the law is very clear who children are. So your children do not include your stepchildren.
Okay.
Even if you brought them up. So even if you had a child, you married a woman or a man who had a child who was 1 day old, and you brought up the child, in the community, people might not even know that person is not your child. But they will not be part of, I would say, children.
Okay.
And then the children.
So in that sense, I'll come back to the children. In that sense, if you want to bequeath anything to your stepchild or those that are not included in the definition, then you might have to state it in the will.
Then you have to state it in the will, or they will have to make an application and an inheritance act, because there may be dependents who were dependent on you at the time of your death. So even the law doesn't recognize them as successors. They can say, well, when you were alive, you were providing for them, so they are entitled to something. There's a case law, the case of Elon versus Blue, which is a 2000 Supreme Court citation, where something was bequeathed to a charity, and then the daughter went in and said, listen, my father didn't give me anything. He's giving all to charity. I want some. And then the court agreed. Just that whatever she had initially from the High Court was reduced, but she had something. And then, so when we look at the priority of inheritance, we have your spouse, we have your children, we have your parents, and children includes your adopted children.
Okay.
And children through surrogacy. So spouse, children, parents, siblings. If it's siblings, there are classes of siblings. There are full siblings and half siblings.
Okay.
A full sibling is somebody that you share parents with, so mother and father. Half sibling is somebody you share by a mother or a father with. So spouse, children, parents, siblings, and then if siblings are not there, then it goes to grandparents, uncles, aunties, nieces, nephews, in that order. Ghana is different, so we're not talking about Ghana, we're talking about the UK. So the law as it stands basically recognizes the spouse more than your children.
Okay.
And therefore your spouse tends to inherit majority. Whether you like it or not, they will inherit majority of your assets. And your kids or your children will get something. But also in our community, there are people that we treat as our children that we may have informally adopted without documentation, and we remit money to them. And these are the reasons why we're treating this topic, that we should be mindful of the fact that if you don't prepare a will, all the people that you had in mind when you were alive and you were sending money to, they will not benefit, or they may not benefit when you die. So it's very crucial that you look at who benefits, why the person benefits, and make provision towards it. Will writing is the easiest thing to do. You may get a will written for £100 or less than £100. So it's not something that is very expensive.
I find it interesting. It's the easiest thing to do, but it's turned out to be one of the most difficult decisions people make.
In the UK, 60% of people don't write wills. In Ghana, it's more. because almost everyone who's died I didn't have a will. So yes, Kweku, it's it doesn't have an immediate effect. So it happens after your death, and obviously some people believe that once you're thinking of writing a will, it means you're preparing for your burial. And yeah, we will all die. As I keep saying, a couple of weeks ago, I was with a loved one, a family member, and the person couldn't speak because of what he was suffering from. And he made a note for me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm also treating this topic. And we're in a hospital and in America, and the note that the person made for me was to the effect that when you were younger and you were unwell, this is how I felt, and very difficult situation, So sometimes these things do happen, and for us as humans, you need to plan for the time that you'll be alive, the time that you'll be gone, and these are some of the things that you have to consider. So the person wrote that, clearly he knows how I feel, my emotions and everything. Because when I was in university, I had a terrible accident, and Kweku, you know the story.
Yeah, I do.
And I was bedbound for 6 months, so I had to learn how to walk. And I saw the person go through a lot of emotions and changes, and he was telling me that he can see from my face that that's how I felt. And that is why you don't know. This person was very healthy only in February, and suddenly the person is on the bed, and anything could happen. They could die any day, and it really hits you that life itself is sometimes can be unfair. Yeah.
We live on BWTV, brought to you by BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. A very difficult subject to treat, but we have to have those difficult conversations anyhow, because it is a reality of life. And this afternoon, we're looking at what may happen to your loved ones and people you wish that they carry out what it is that you have left behind, your intentions, your take care of your estate and the rest of it. If you do not put together a well and right one, what could happen? Your people may lose out. You've got questions, you got concerns, send them via text 0739920848, or you can send it via WhatsApp as well, 0739920848. You can put that in the comment section down below on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll address that. We have as our guest and resource person the senior partner of BWF Solicitors, who is taking us through that. We take this break, and when we come back, we will be continuing with that. There are a few questions that I want to put to Uncle Ben, and we'll look at how we remedy the situation where it is that you may not have put together well, and what happens. He has been talking about the percentage of share and all the other bit. Who benefits the most apart from the wife and the children? Do anybody, any other people have the chance to come in and contest the law? Maybe on your side, but if you don't know how to do it, you may fall foul of it or not even benefit from that. It's the community and the law, and we'll be right back.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
When you've got Akasi Pong, Minister OJ, Alexa Champong, and Diana Hamilton, what have you got? It can only be the return of Emmanuel Praise, brought to you by Alexa Champong Ministries. On Sunday, 26th of May, at the Pavilion, 143 to 145 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY. Doors open at 5. Tickets are £30 standard, £50 VIP, which includes your VIP seat, meet and greet and take pictures with artists, VIP snacks, water and drink, and an under 18 concession rate of £15. Get yours at alexchampong.com or call +44 744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Minister OJ, Akasi Pong, Diana Hamilton, and Alexa Champong. You will be blessed.
We're still live on BWTV, and the program, The Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. Remember, you can call BWF Solicitors on 0208 493 7340. The Ghana number is 00233 5589 5959, 00233 5558 95959. The emergency number is 077 Now, I would want to say that this afternoon we're having that difficult conversation where people try to avoid, but I tell you, it's unavoidable in the sense that we all come into this world and we pass through. And when we have passed through, we would want to leave people to carry out our wishes. We would want to leave our estate in the hands of people we love and we know can take good care of that. But in a situation where you're not able to do that, what does the law say? Where do we stand on the side of the law? Do people have to lose out? Well, stitching time, they say, saves 9. So this program is definitely getting you to get yourself prepared and ready to do that. Senior partner of BWF Solicitors, Uncle Ben, is our resource person and guest this afternoon. And we're so privileged that he's sharing these experiences, this knowledge that is so worth having with us. Uncle Ben, what's happening to us? Well, we're back in focus. Yeah. The distribution, what the law says is that if you don't write a will, your estate is distributed in a certain, according to a certain ratio or whatever. Let's look at that again.
Okay.
For point of emphasis, because I want people to appreciate that things may go pear-shaped. It may happen that people who would inherit what you have had may not be the people you really wanted to come. So, as I have said, and I want to say again, a stitch in time saves nine. Let's look at the proportions again.
Okay, so initially I said that your assets up to 270 is actually 322,000.
Okay.
So the order of priority is spouse.
Mhm.
And when we say spouse, we mean someone that you're married to. I know in our community, sometimes this can be difficult because of, obviously things that go on here. Somebody may have done something back home, but they will say, "Nkrata so de onyemiku ana onyameyere." We should be mindful of the onyemiku ana onyameyere. Ewo nkrata so. So, as a spouse, and a spouse includes people that you're married to. It includes civil partners in England. We know in Ghana, we find upon gay marriages. So, in the UK, they allow gay and lesbian marriage. So, civil partners, which is marriage of same sex. And then children, and then parents, and then siblings, which is full siblings, and then half siblings, and then grandparents,
Okay.
and then uncles, and then aunties. It doesn't even go to nieces and nephews. And then once it hits aunties and uncles and they are not there, it goes to the crown, which is the state. In the UK, the state is a crown. And apart from Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall, where the assets, which is what we call the bona vacantia or vacantia, which is a Greek word for ownerless property or ownerless asset. It goes to the state, and then the state will keep it. Now, if a relative comes up in 30 years, within 30 years, they can claim it. But before this happens, it's published in the newspapers, and then there's a list of assets that's gone to the state. Now, in our community, I don't think we will ever have a situation where we will, you look at all these lines and say, he doesn't have a wife or a husband, he doesn't have children, he doesn't have parents, he doesn't have siblings and half siblings, grandparents, and then uncles and aunties. I don't think so. Because there's a case that I did. And we started with 4 children. When we finished, I think we had about 25 children with 7 wives. So in our community, but in this country, it's very real. Because when you live here, for example, if I'm here and I pass and they cannot locate any of my relatives, they're not going to go to Ghana to knock on doors. They will do the advertisement in the UK and it will be in the register for a while. And if nobody comes up, then it goes to the state. But however, along the line, if I don't think I haven't got any nephew or nieces in Ghana. Yes, I do have aunties and uncles, but all my nephews and nieces are outside. But if somebody says that, well, Nana is my nephew or my niece after 20 years, they can come and claim. But really, we don't want to get there. That is why the advice is get a will. I write wills, but I write wills for only Ghanaian properties. I don't do the English one. And it's because I'm a lawyer and we have a large, high overheads. Our fee to draft your will is very expensive. I will not charge you anything less than £600. Whereas you can get somebody to do your will for less than £100. So I tell people that get somebody to do it. In Ghana, you will not get a will written for less than that. So, because in Ghana, when you write a will, you need to seal it and you have to go and lodge it at the will's depository. at the High Court, so it's a bit expensive.
Oh.
Please write a will indicating that the wills in Ghana cannot say how you should be buried. The wills in England can. And we've discussed this before, that the things that you can put in your will. We've got something called wishes letter or letter of wishes, which is normally attached to your will. So where your trustees or your administrators have a discretion, you can direct them as to how to exercise the discretion, but that will not be admitted to probate. That will be a confidential document. But your will, once it's admitted to probate, becomes a public document.
Right. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. But let me ask this: and when somebody is in the process of divorcing, and they traditionally the man may have sent the drains, returned the dowry, if we can put it that way, but in court they have not had the final decision made, and unfortunately the person passes on. There is no will. In that situation, can somebody come in and say that these people I know traditionally were not married?
Huh. Well, so yesterday, for example, the week before, I think I got an email for me to advise the court in relation to something like this. And because we are so busy, I had to decline it. Yesterday, I had to decline it. Now, when it comes to advising about Ghanaian law, it's quite difficult because the English courts, obviously where they have jurisdiction, will want support and assistance about how the laws is applicable in Ghana. So if somebody says that you're divorced and you've lived here for 12 months or more, then if the divorce is not in court in this country, is not valid. Okay? So Section 46 of the Family Law Act will bar that. If somebody tells me that we're married in Ghana, it's a customary law, it will be admitted to evidence here, and it will establish that at the time of the death, you are a spouse. But then if a family member goes, oh, no, he's not a spouse. My brother divorced him. We took the drinks to the father. They've accepted it and everything. I will come in and say, well, I'm sorry, but we are in England. You're talking about Ghanaian law. Sometimes it's applicable here. But in relation to divorce, there's a specific requirement that if the person has been ordinarily resident here and the cutoff period is 12 months, then the divorce should have been a court process divorce. And anything other than that will not be valid. I've written an article on this, which is on our website. I think it's about a year or 2 years old. So somebody, obviously, if you want advice about this part, you can look at it. Yeah.
So if they have assets in Ghana, ordinarily resident in the UK, but they have assets in Ghana. There's a will probably written, but it did not cover the assets in Ghana. What happens?
Okay, so when you're applying for your either probate or letters of administration, they always ask you whether you've got assets outside the United Kingdom. And when you're completing the IHT, either 206 or 205, they also ask you whether you have assets outside the UK. The advice is where your asset is situated, you must have a will there. So my advice is to have two wills if you live here and you've got assets in Ghana and assets here. Your will here will deal with your assets here. Your will in Ghana will deal with your assets in Ghana. It doesn't mean that if you have one will, it will not cover all the estate. Just remember that in Ghana, technically we don't pay inheritance tax, but there's a stamp duty of, I think it's 5% or 8% on the estate, which is a landed property. So people call that the inheritance, but technically Ghana doesn't have inheritance tax. We have inheritance tax in England. So if you're being tax efficient, tax avoidance is a legal mechanism that can be part of it, and that's why it's advisable to devise your will so that it covers assets here, and then another will which covers assets in Ghana.
Well, then again, the beneficiaries of the dead person's estate, there's no will.
Okay.
But then he had people he supported, unofficial, but there is evidence. Money transfer going, paying school fees, all those documents are available. This person says that my supposed dad is gone. Who is going to take care of me? Because he was the only person I looked up to. How can such a person have any benefit of this estate?
Well, there's something called inheritance tax. I think it's 1946, which covers this area. So the 1 year preceding the death, you must be a dependent of this person. And if you can show that you are, then you can make an application. I mean, I can share this with you because I'm not going to mention. I was dealing with a particularly high net worth individual who was a footballer, and he had died. And he obviously he's got children, but he wasn't married to the children's mom, and he was looking after his mom and other family members. So the advice was, okay, well, we know everything will go to the children, but what about us? And so that is how they can make an application under the Inheritance Act. And if the court finds it convenient, the court will apply the discretion. And although they didn't inherit within the rules, they can apportion part of the assets or the estate to a family member or a person who was a dependent who has made this application.
I am looking at this, though we're looking at the England or the UK jurisdiction.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a situation where Kofi has bequeathed something to a friend, or a friend's child, or to an organization, a charity. And his children feel that it wasn't fair. So then they go to court to say that even though my father wished for this, it would be to our disadvantage. So we want to take part of that. Can it be done?
Yes, and the case law, we'll see that in a minute. The case law is there, where the estate, the deceased had written a will and bequeathed everything to a charity. She went to court. She was successful. Initially, she was granted 400,000. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yes, she must get something, but we'll give her 200,000 instead of 400,000.
Can it be challenged?
Oh, you see, so
I'm asking. let me put it in context.
Okay.
I have my dad, who probably I didn't have a good rapport with.
Yes.
At a point, I was so a recalcitrant child that he felt that, nah, this boy can never inherit me. So he bequeaths everything to other people.
Yes.
Now, maybe a little prior to his death, we reconciled, but he didn't have the chance to change his will. I feel cheated. I feel that my dad wasn't fair to me. Can I still challenge it?
Well, I mean, the UK law books and law reports are replete with these cases. There's one, I think it was a Marcus, and a Marcus usually will be a property owner in a certain vicinity. So if you look at the royal family, they are somewhere there. And, I had a very stubborn son. He wasn't really a prodigal son. And, so after everything, he said, well, I want to claim something. Yeah, he fought them. He fought his stepmother, and he got something. So sometimes, although there's a requirement of dependency, even if there's no dependency and there's a will, the courts rarely intervene, but they have intervened where they think the will is not fair.
Well, you may get your question, you may have the concern, so send them through 0208-493-7345. You can call in and we can take that. You can also send your comments to the section down below and share it with us as well. Or you can text it to 0739920848. WhatsApp, same number, 0739920848. 468. Awajimai, I've seen your concern. I'll be addressing that right after this. We are getting into the second hour of the program, and I want to just remind you that we have this as our nugget, and it's saying that secession, that secession thing that we talked about. I want to reiterate that if someone dies without leaving a will, then the estate will pass by way of the intestacy rules. First in the order of priority, and depending on whether the deceased are children who survive them, a spouse will receive the largest share, sometimes all. Divorcing couples must therefore ensure they receive legal advice while going through divorce, because until a final divorce order is pronounced, you are still married, and your estranged spouse may inherit all your estate. Unfair outcome, some will say. Stanhope and versus Stanhope 2013 case. And this is the community and the law. I would want to quickly take this break. Say thank you to BWF solicitors for their generosity. In fact, we will all have to doff up our heart and say thank you to BWF solicitors, because they're helping us. They have promised to continue to help us. And we are also having that responsibility to show that we are grateful.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. We are into the second final hour of the program, The Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors. It's time for you to help us get interactive. The lines are active now: 0208 493 7345. Text 07399208 or you can leave your comments down below in the comment section of Facebook, YouTube, at BWF Solicitors, at BWTV, and of course on your social media platforms where you are. Let me first get this one. Akosia Akwe, watching live from Birmingham, UK. How are you doing over there? I hope everything is fine. Now, one here says, Daniela, good evening, Uncle. My question is off today's program. That's fine. Can someone start the child-minder business as a company, or it ought to be a self-employed business that is a child-minder business? Uncle Ben.
Well, I always advise people that if you're doing any business and you're looking for sponsorship, you need to register it as a limited liability company. So it has to be a company rather than an individual because it has so many implications. Remember that within the appendix, skilled worker, there's no avenue for a self-employed person to apply for a license, apart from those who are specifically authorized to do so under the self-sponsorship.
Okay. The next one here from our friend Kusi. It says, if I have difficulty passing the live in the UK test, what else could I do to remain in the country to get my naturalization? I'm an EU partner.
Because naturalization, it's really a discretionary act. It's not mandatory. It's not like leave to remain or indefinite leave to remain. There's no discretion to do anything for you, apart from if you can show that you fall within the class of people who are accepted or exempt. This would be people who have disability. The recent one we did was someone who was partially blind. There's one that we also did, and it's one of the most brilliant cases that we've done. Young woman, she's a stammerer, and she has issues with stress, and she's very, very forgetful. So on that basis, we got a GP to write a letter. We filled the form, we sent it, and for that reason, she didn't do the English and the life in UK.
The next one here, Uncle Ben. Mami Ajiman, I'm an EU citizen. I want to marry my girlfriend who is in Ghana. I wanted to know how I can get a certificate if I want to do a traditional marriage, but I would want a way to prove that I'm married, so I'm bringing here to the country to live in. How could I do this? Let's leave it there and address it.
Yeah, so Mami, we've always, I think we need to find time and treat the customary law as a customary law marriage, as a marriage, and not an engagement.
That's right.
We've always said that, in fact, we encourage people that if you can't travel but you've met the woman or the man before, that you can, contract customary marriage. There is a misconception that our customary marriage is proxy. Our customary law marriage is not marriage by proxy. Professor Woodman has said that, I have said that in various reports. Because when you look at the definition of a customary marriage, it is a marriage of this family and that family. If you don't have the consent of the family and you don't have the consent of the bride and the groom, then the marriage cannot take place. It's as simple as that, unless you go and do your wedding. But for customary marriage, if one of the families says we don't agree, you cannot marry. You cannot marry. And that is why it's such a beautiful system of marriage. There's a case that I did about 15 years ago, and the judge described our marriage as the most simplistic form of marriage. I thought, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You go when they're paying the dowry and doing, all the parties, the way that our kids now have somehow, modernized our system of marriage. It's such a beautiful occasion, and it brings a lot to light. And for us, we say we are the Gen X, so we are over 50, and the Gen Zs, and also the millennials. They've brought different aspects to our marriage. So if you're here, you have to show that you've met your husband or your wife before. In your case, you're a woman, so you have met your husband. Once you've met him before,
she's come up to correct that. She meant the boyfriend, not the girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. Don't worry. Once you've met him and you've got pictures to show, you've got your passport stamp to show that you've traveled to Ghana, having spoken about passport stamp, for some reason, the UK government sometimes argues in court that the fact that you have passport stamp in your passport and you've gone to Ghana doesn't mean that you met your prospective husband or your... Can you imagine? I mean, such a flimsy argument. But anyway, it's what it is. So once you've got evidence that you've traveled to Ghana, you've met him, there's photographs, there's conversation. You can ask your family to marry you off under customary marriage, and it will be acceptable.
All right. So the lines are active 020849373345. You can send a text 07399208468. And you can also leave your comments down below in the comment section, and we'll pick that as we have done for a few people. Now, I had this person come to me with a scenario, and maybe you can help us unravel that. This person came into this country as a dependent of a student, a gentleman, as a dependent of the girlfriend was a student, but they came into the country because of the where the school is located. They were living apart. At a point, the lady was not attending lectures, didn't go to university. It was found out. She didn't tell the boyfriend. So eventually, when the student visa was cancelled and they were asked to go home, this gentleman didn't know. He had a very good job here in London, and then eventually he realized that they had just less than a few days to really sort themselves out. Where he's working, they have managed to get him a certificate of sponsorship.
Yeah.
But then he's confused as to whether it should be a defined one or the ordinary COS, because he doesn't want to go back to Ghana and all the complications about it. Now, they issued him with a defined certificate of sponsorship, and he is confused as to what to do. Does he have to go to Ghana to do that? How can he get himself out of that entitlement?
Well, Kweku, first of all, the rules are there to guide all of us. The Appendix SW, which is the skilled worker route, defines the process that you can go through to stay here. When you make your application, your employer is supposed to do your right to work. The right to work will then tell the employer that they can issue you with a certificate in the UK and not certificate for outside the UK. Some of the employers don't understand. Yesterday alone, I spoke to 3 people. Even this morning, I've spoken to another one who sent me her documents. And the employer issued her with COS when, in January, when her visa had been cancelled in December. What it tells me is that the employer didn't do what they have to do, and this is what concerns some of us, that employers assume the role of being sponsors and don't understand the law.
Right.
So in the case where they've got a few days, because sometimes they give them 60 days, where they've got a few days for the bar to stop, the employee is supposed to give the employer or the prospective employer a share code.
Okay.
The share code will tell the employer or the prospective employer that this person is in the UK legally.
Okay.
Because when you check online, it will tell you that they can stay for maybe another 2 days or 3 days. You can issue immediately. Once you issue and they put in the application before it expires, they are covered. And we do that all the time.
Okay.
There's also a trick. I don't want to discuss it here. That people use, and I think it's coming very handy, where you preempt it. So you preempt it. I don't want to say much. And then that covers you up until some time. I've spoken about somebody doing EU applications and then you get a COS. That is not leave to remain, and that cannot be a right to work, which allows you to issue a COS. But if the employer knows what they're doing, there shouldn't be a problem. And this person, you can call any of our solicitors after the program, and they will be happy to help you.
Okay. 020849373340. We've got one person, sorry, on the line, and let's get onto the lines to pick that one up. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. Greetings to you, Kweku and Uncle Ben.
Good evening to you.
My name is KK. I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The first question is, if an ex-partner, let's say they've been divorced for 12 years.
Okay.
And then there's no financial order. So they've not cut out any financial order. And also, there isn't any alimony or anything being paid for that all those years. So they've all parted happily. Now, if, let's say, the husband inherits, let's say, £1 million, and then within probably and inherit £1 million, they not survive it for, let's say, 6 months or something and pass away. Now, can the ex-wife inherit anything, or can the ex-wife make a claim against the estate? The estate. That's my first question. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask another question.
Would you want to get a response to this one before you come in with the second one? It's a bit long and winding. Anyway,
I can do that.
Okay. Just hold on, Dogo.
Okay. So he's talking about family law and the Matrimonial Causes Act, Section 25. And then he's also talking about the inheritance under the Inheritance Act. So when I don't know whether he said they were divorced or separated. KK, if you're there, clarify.
They were divorced.
Okay.
But there's never been any financial order in place for 12 years.
Okay. So.
And the woman never remarried.
Okay. Everything is said has we call it cause and effect. So under the Matrimonial Causes Act, Section 25, that gives the court power to distribute your assets when you're going through divorce. If you divorce and you don't settle your financial matters, the other person can always come back for more, and it's happened several times. In this case, they're divorced and the person is deceased. If the person is deceased, the inheritance rule will come in. I mean, if the other party wants to make an application under the Inheritance Act of 1975, they will have to justify why they are entitled to something. But if the man inherited something, which then becomes part of his estate, especially if he survives for a number of months, as KK was saying, then the estate obviously doesn't go to the woman, because the woman is no longer the man's family. And when we say spouse, it doesn't include the divorced person. It doesn't include your ex-partner. It's only someone that you're currently married to. I did tell you, and I've said this story several times. Unfortunately, the woman is deceased now. The case that I dealt with, I think about 20 years ago, where the man in his will said to my wife, and he gave his East Legon property, and then there was another property here in Mitcham, which was very expensive at the time, and he gave it to my wife. So to my wife, A, B, C, D. This man left the UK, went to Ghana, but in his case, they were never divorced. He met a young woman, had children with her, and for all intents and purposes, the family in Ghana knew her as a wife. And that's why I keep saying, when people like us get involved, because I understand the Ghanaian law, if you bring your I'm also going to tell you that even in Ghana, when somebody is married under the ordinance, the customary marriage is not a marriage. And really, so when it said that to my wife, somebody that they've been separated for 25 years because he accused a woman of infidelity, she inherited a lot of the assets. KK, so to your question, the woman is divorced. There's nothing about inheritance for her, so she won't get anything. Neither under 25 or under the 75 Act. She will not get anything. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so your second question, KK.
Yes, my second question is, if let's say a rock star, someone is married.
A rock star.
Oh, a rock star.
The person is married and then had another child outside the marriage, but did not acknowledge it, so did not play any part in the child's life. Now, if that lady with a child, let's say 24 years later, got married, and then the new husband adopts the child. That is adult, what's it called? Adult, what's it called? Adult, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, adopt the young adult. Okay. Now, the father then passed away, and his estate is worth, let's say, 10 million. The estate is worth, let's say, 10 million. Now, the child is now 25. Okay, after a year, the child said, oh, I'm 25. Now, I'll go to the legal route to denounce my new the adopted father, because now I know my father, and I don't want him to be my father. So that has been done. Okay? That has been done. Now, paternity has also been proved or proven. My question is, the father's will had a will, but the will, there was a residual, at least there was a residual clause in it that says any other properties which is not covered by the will should go to my children. The father has a property, about 5 properties, which has not been covered by the will, worth about 20 million. Now my question is, can this child come back and make a claim against or inherit anything? Thank you.
Kenke, why? Are you in law school? When they give you your homework, you come here for Well, I mean, yeah, some of the things you say may sound to us as far-fetched, but they could happen. So let me break it down. A child has been adopted by a man. So when we say children under the inheritance, under the intestacy rules, it includes adopted children. So if somebody adopts a child and in their will they bequeath something to that child, or even if the person is not their child but they bequeath it to him, then that says it doesn't matter that they, subsequently he denounced the man as not my father. The legacy or the gift in the will go to him, so nothing will change. Okay. What may not go to him? You were talking about adult adoption. Now, when a child is above 18, you cannot legally adopt them. So I'm not sure of the adoption you're talking about. There's what we call informal adoption, which happens in Ghana a lot, where people say, this is my child, but they haven't gone through a formal process of adoption. In Ghana, you may get away with it. In the UK, you can't. But in the scenario that you've given, the child was adopted, the father made a specific device or gift to him. The gift obviously will not fail. It doesn't matter what is charged. He can say, I don't want it. That's fine. That's no problem. But once there's a specific device to him or gift to him, that he will succeed. Yeah.
All right, KK.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You have a good grade, don't worry. Thank you very much. 0739920848. I know there are a few people behind the saying, if you want to send a text, 0739920848, or you call us on 0208-493-7345. This one says that I'm asking for a friend. What is the right of abode? I think it's something linked to naturalization, but I forgot. Jeffa.
Yeah, Jeffakusi. So, right of abode, it's the right that is given to people who have right to live in the UK or come to the UK without hindrance. It's normally for people who are British citizens but also hold other citizenship. And the past, it was for Commonwealth citizens who were British overseas citizens. So they were not 100% British citizens, but they were people who can come and live here. And before independence, we had a right to come and live here. And some of our people had British overseas passports. So a right of abode is given to a British citizen or someone who has a claim to enter the UK without hindrance, not leave to remain, and not leave given by the 1971 Act, but the person is using a different country's passport and not a British passport.
Oh, okay. Yes, let me just remind you that this is the what do you call it? The nugget that we had earlier on. It's talked about if someone dies without leaving a will, then the estate will pass by way of intestacy rule. First in the order of priority, and depending on whether the deceased had children who survived them, a spouse will receive the largest share, sometimes all. Divorcing couples must therefore ensure they receive legal advice while going through divorce, because until a final divorce order is pronounced, you are still married and your estranged wife may inherit all your estate. An unfair situation, some may say. Okay, now let me ask you this question. Look at this scenario. I won't ask you to answer it now, but look at it. I'll go and take a few more calls and then come back to it. It says Kwesi Wudini, husband of Baba Akumapa, was convicted of domestic violence for battering Baba. Baba started divorce proceedings as a result. Kwesi was a habitual gambler and had wasted the family savings on gambling. Unfortunately, Baba died before their divorce final order. At her death, Baba owned two properties in South London she inherited from her previous husband. Baba died childless and did not have a will, so she died intestate. Akwesi applied for letters of administration alleging he was the sole beneficiary of Baba's estate. The extended family in Ghana challenged this application. What advice would you give them? Because he was a bad husband, the court will reject his application for letters of administration, that is the LA, because he will be considered surviving spouse. He stands to inherit all the estate because Baba did not make a will. The court will divide the estate 50-50 to the family. And Kwesi, well, think about it. I will be coming back to that. But let's go to the phone lines and listen to Yemi Wasona. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Coco.
Good evening.
Good evening, Uncle Ben.
Good evening.
Please, can I ask my question in our local dialect so that I will be quick?
I think you can. Yeah, there's nothing stopping you from.
Okay. Yeah, Uncle Ben, I told you, there is this email from home office about
e-visa.
E-visa. Now, me share what we can and I'm follow some day. My young could do my Twitch account.
Yeah.
I say, many account with e-visa. And he, I mean, also send me, but me do, baby, no shit. Me probably say, the sort of submit, name, and this one here earlier, or no. It's not a man. Maybe I can see my submit. And I'm going to do that in the right way and I'm also.
Mpacho, emails not back every week for even clients I show when to be our biometric card be try to be create UKVI account. All in to biometric and no update with your passport. So I have two documents because biometric card and I allow my be e-visa. Mo amoye EU for any EU abusian for mo de mo account that. Enti we na mfa mo we ye omo under immigration rules, all those appendix EU SSA under immigration rules. Enti wo ya wo criteria ye omo upload documents na enyo bia na omaye by December no omaye na ma me be friend or that's use wet ink ana akọpa bibi o say akọ dan on maka chance da bi omo nje enti no bisa me so obeye den nti ohene ne kwa so a mo nyina mo nkoso na mo create me share link no which I will share again nti mo nkoso na mo create yeah nti ne kwa so a no why
okay I give me to show with the day after na
yes
me na ma update no passport details so aka
we are with me update you with details and the passport no after December na we need to coin nti also the passport no so share yeah ni asida
I'll make you free advice on. We have any child. That's the beauty of the program. Into consider share program, not so my and inviting for the next to come also why? Okay, all right. 0208493735. Uncle Ben, say Obi war. Well, let me put it this way: if somebody has the perception that I can challenge my dad's will, but does not have a good ground to do that, can that person solicit the support of other family members who may have benefited from the will to getting some benefit from it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there might be people who have knowledge of the medical situation of the deceased person.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a carer, it might be a wife, a stepmother, it might be an aunt or a sister or a cousin. And sometimes when people die, the most challenged aspect of the will or the validity process is that the person did not have the mental capacity to write the will. And you will need to lead medical evidence on that. And people can come in and say that, well, you know, he was suffering from this and that. And then, yeah, so when you have, because everything that you're challenging in court is 99% by evidence, and evidence can be both oral and written. So if somebody is coming to give evidence in your favor, which is that, you know, I witnessed this and that, okay, now this signature there is not mine, although it said it's me. I didn't sign this, I don't remember. In fact, I wasn't in Ghana, I was in the UK. So that one of the requirements of the will ought to be witnessed. It's not there, and then the will obviously becomes an invalid will, which means that all the devices in the will fall into intestacy. Yes, you can. You can get people to support you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend who is watching from Birmingham. Thank you very much. So, yes, I'm waiting for your texts. I'm waiting for your calls and all the other bits that have coming. Uncle Ben, if somebody was writing a will, his mental capacity was challenged at a point, but had witnesses around that could testify to the fact that these were his wishes, but unfortunately, he couldn't write it legally as it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Would the witnesses' evidence be valid enough for a court to say that, yes, this is the intention of the deceased person?
Okay, so there's a will. But somebody is saying, well, the terms of the will, it's not reflective of the intention of the testator. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, yes, you can. Once there's a valid will, sometimes it's very difficult to challenge it. But you can always challenge a will. Just remember that these things can be very expensive. So if that's what you want to do, you can. There's a case that has come to me recently about a very prominent person here. And what's happened is that they've gone to court. In fact, they've even distributed the estate. And now somebody has come to say that the will wasn't valid because of this and that and that and that. And they are now in court. They're in the High Court. It can be challenging because, you see, you don't have to go back and collect everything that you've given to people. It can be challenging. All that I say to people is that when you're writing a will, have it written well, legally, have a witness, and the witness should witness you signing, and you should witness them signing. That is how it's done.
Well, it's coming your way, courtesy BWF Solicitors and Trusted Partners when it comes to the law. BWF Solicitors, they are located on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters, North London. If you're driving, the postcode is N154NP. If you're going by public transport, get on the Victoria line, get off at the Seven Sisters Tube Station, use exit number 2. That will take you to the frontage of Anna House. Climb up to the 4th floor, and that's where you meet BWF Solicitors. Now, trust them with everything legal. Family issues, your immigration matters, If you want advice on setting up your own business, especially in this era where we're taking advantage of the certificates of sponsorship and all the other bits. Remember, if you have been an added follower of this program, you would have realized that all the codes that are needed to be looked at and taking advantage of, Uncle Ben, the senior partner, is taking us through that. And that's what you get from BWF Solicitors. 0208 493 7340 is their telephone number. They have an office in Ghana where you can call them on 00233 55 589 5959. 00233 55 589 5959. Or if you have a text message, you have a WhatsApp message, in emergency situations, you want to get in touch with BWF Solicitors, just use the UK mobile number 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors are trusted partners when it comes to the law.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
When you've got Akasi Brimpong, Minister OJ, Alexa Champong, and Diana Hamilton, what have you got? It can only be the return of Emmanuel Praise, brought to you by Alexa Champong Ministries. On Sunday, 26th of May, at the Pavilion, 143 to 145 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY. Doors open at 5. Tickets are £30 standard, £50 VIP, which includes your VIP seat, meet and greet and take pictures with artists, VIP snacks, water and drink, and an under 18 concession rate of £15. Get yours at alexachampong.com or call +44 744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Minister OJ, Akasi Brimpong, Diana Hamilton, and Alexa Champong. You will be blessed.
Well, we come back and we're going to really get close to our quiz. And I recommend the scenario that was created. Whatever we did, well, that is it. But let's look at maybe a quick summary of what it is that we have looked at. People do not write wills.
Yes.
When you do not write a will, there is the possibility that there will be a dire consequence. Take us through the advice again.
Well, so what happens is that if you're no longer alive and you're gone, there are processes and procedures that will take place after you've gone. You're not there to intercede or intervene. And therefore, if you were blessed and you had an asset, maybe a car, maybe books you've written, a copyright item, it may be a business, it may be a house. I mean, everybody in the UK who is from Ghana is trying to create something in Ghana, which is a good thing. They obviously will have to be distributed or it has to be inherited. And the UK has its laws. Obviously, if you're domiciled here or habitually resident here, then it's very likely that the law of England and Wales will apply to your intestacy. Because if you don't write a will, you will be declared, and your assets will be declared an intestate asset. And to the extent that the indirect consequences of what you may have omitted to do or done but not done it properly can be dire and unfair intended consequences, as we will see from our nuggets.
Okay, so maybe I'll go to the nugget again, and we'll pick up the question. Not this one. Why am I always going back to this one? Sorry about that. Forgive me. Yes, Akwasi Udini is in focus here. He's the husband of Baba Akumapa. Maybe I'll put that in context. In Ghana, if we say somebody is Udini, that's a very wicked person who is very callous. Akumapa is somebody who is kind-hearted. So a callous person marries a kind-hearted woman. And the man was convicted of domestic violence for battering the woman. Baba started divorce proceedings as a result. Akwasi was a habitual gambler and had wasted the family savings on gambling. Unfortunately, Baba died before their divorce final order. At her death, the lady owned 2 properties in South London. She inherited those 2 properties from her previous husband. Baba did not have a child at the time she died and did not write a will. So technically, as we have been discussing this afternoon, she died intestate. Akwasi applied for letters of administration. Akwasi is the surviving husband. He applied for letters of administration, alleging he was the sole beneficiary of Baba's estate. The extended family in Ghana challenged this application. Now, from the knowledge, the lesson, and the experience we have had this afternoon, what advice would you give them? I mean, the family. Akwasi was a bad husband. And as a result, the court will reject his application for letters of administration. Or you could say Kwesi will be considered a surviving spouse. He stands to inherit all the estate because Baba did not make a will. Would you also say that the court will divide the estates 50-50 to the family and Kwesi because he's a surviving husband? Now get ready. Let's get on onto the thing. But Agumeni, well, I won't ask you for your because you'll be giving us the answer. But people could be callous. People could be very wicked. Baba, at this point, probably may have reported to the police that, well, he was convicted, so it wasn't reported to the police and all that. Can somebody step in and say that this person wasn't worth being a husband? So, even though the divorce proceedings had not gone to its conclusive end, we do not recognize him as a husband.
Yeah.
Can somebody say that?
Well, Kweku, it's possible. I mean, under the Inheritance Act, 1975, there are people who can make applications, which includes a former spouse, somebody who immediately before the death of the deceased was a dependent, somebody who's lived with the deceased for at least 2 years. All these people can make an application under the Inheritance Act. So in this case, there's no will. The rules of intestacy and the priority order will apply. And we know that Baba didn't have children. And we know that where Baba hasn't got children, everything and all things will go to her spouse. And, you know, what an unintended consequence.
It makes this discussion very, very appropriate in the sense that obviously Baba did not intend that everything went to this Udini.
Yes, Kweku, and we've seen that with other things. There's a case that we're doing. A very hardworking woman. She came to this country when she was 18. She's now in her late 50s. Done everything, worked 2 jobs, married this man. They've got 2 children. The man went to Ghana. You know, and she went through a lot of violent incidents. So we're dealing with, it's not intestate, but it's a distribution of assets. Because the woman has done so well for herself, the man has now come back, he wants something from from her. The problem we have is that if we don't take steps to do the right thing, and the right thing we're saying is I write your will, even if it's a one-liner that I give everything I own to my children and my spouse in equal share, that's fine. Wills are not very expensive. You can get a will writer. There's one that I'm still looking for the number. I'll call Anna or Victoria to get a number. And he will charge you sometimes £100, 140, and then he will write your will. He cannot write Ghana will.
I know the woman you're talking about.
Yes, and the guy, 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them.
They were the last event, yes. I took his number, but I can't find it. I'll find it and share it to everyone. So the dire consequences of an omission is what happens there. And if Baba is from a prominent family or a loving family, and there are extended family members who are looking to inherit or benefit from some of the items or the estate, in this case, houses in South London are considerably expensive. So it brings home to you the need for us to put our affairs in order. Not only when you are rich, but also when you've worked hard, you've bought a plot of land, it might be a farm, a cocoa farm, a rubber plantation, or whatever it is. We need to put our affairs in order and put it in writing and get a will. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put the question back on, give you just a couple of minutes for you to think about it, then you send in your answers. Then we'll ask Uncle Ben which the correct answer will be. It's all on the program, the community and the law. And look at that. As Kwesi was a bad husband, the court will reject his application for letters of administration. Kwesi will be considered a surviving spouse. He stands to inherit all the estate because Baba did not make a will. The court will divide the estate 50-50 to the family. I've got Nana, your son is on the line.
Oh, I see.
Trying to answer the question. I'm not going to put your answer on there because you are a law student. So Nana is you are a law student. I'm not putting your answer on there. This is watching.
No, I think we should put his answer.
He sends me laugh out loud.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for watching. Well, that's what your dad is doing. Yeah. We'll take Kwesi to floor. I've seen your answer, but we'll take one quick break and come back to look at what the answer would be. It's all live on BW TV.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Okay, we are back, and we are going to kind of round up the program. Koyotu 4, you say that your answer is number 2. Thank you very much. I have Rebecca Amwako, who also says the answer is number 2. For lack of time, let's quickly come back in here and see. Uncle Ben, what should we look at as the answer for our quiz?
Okay, so we have to go back to our nugget.
Okay, 1 second. So our nugget is here. That's it. Let me pick this one up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's here.
Okay, so we're looking at a case of Stanhope and Stanhope, which is a 2013 citation. And it says that if someone dies without leaving a will, their estate will pass by way of the intestacy rule. That's what we've considered today.
Yeah.
First, in the order of priority, and depending upon whether the deceased had children who survived them as a spouse, will receive the largest share, sometimes all. Divorcing couples must therefore ensure they receive legal advice while going through divorce, because until a final divorce order is pronounced, you're still married. And your estranged spouse may inherit all your estate. An affair, some will say, an unfair situation. Then we go back, because the catchphrase there is until your final order is pronounced, you're still married. So, unfortunately, Baba died before the divorce final order. So we know Baba did not divorce it. Then we have to go back to the Inheritance Act, Section 46, which gives us the priority of inheritance. The first, it's the husband will inherit the first 332,000 if there are children. If there are children.
But in this case, there was no child.
Yeah, because Baba hasn't got children. If we go back to Baba, the question, Baba has no children. So if Baba hasn't got children, we don't continue. You know, the priority order I gave you: spouse, children, parents, siblings, full siblings, then half siblings,
Okay.
grandparents, and then aunties and uncles. So that's the order. Now, we'll look at this. Now, once the spouse and there are no children, we don't go anywhere again. unfortunately, it looks like Mr. Owudini is going to inherit everything. That's what it looks like. And the unfortunate instance is that this is actually a true story. This is actually a true story in our community. And it happened about 7 years ago, no, about 10 years ago. And the family in Ghana reached out to me. And unfortunately, it was a very difficult case, very, very difficult. Eventually, they agreed to do something. He gave what we call an amicable, it wasn't a court case because the family didn't want to go to court. The cost was a bit prohibitive for them. But also, it happened 4 years ago where a wife had married. Let me be a bit careful. It happened 4 or 5 years ago where a woman had married a guy. The guy had inherited a property from his wife. He was living with his deceased wife's 2 children. And when we talk of children, what did I say? Your stepchildren are not your children. But he inherited everything because his first wife did not write a will. So when she died, the property they owned as tenants in common, he inherited a 50% and he owned 100%. He met this woman, 2 years, he died. He had lived with these children when they were children. They were now adults. They were in their 30s. And the woman inherited everything. I obviously asked her to give some money from the bank account, which was over 150,000. Take the house, but give some of the money to them. And I mean, I don't want to tell you our conversation because sometimes, fairness demands that although the law is in our favor, you also want to be good. And in fact, I was actually, in that case, the family was so incensed that they actually reported us because we were representing the woman. They reported us and they said, oh, the woman is fake and she's not a person. They've gone to a Facebook, but granted, anything that I hold attached, if I'm working on it, then so the person who I was working on it said, wow, how did you think about it? I said, yes, you have to preempt all this. We send the document, they say, oh, they haven't got a case. But it happens. These things do happen. It's happening in our community and it can happen to you.
Well, it can happen to you. So a stitch in time, let's say, saves 9. And I believe that you would learn from this thing and definitely make sure that things go in your favor. So please make sure that you put together a will so that things will not go pear-shaped for you. The answer, as Uncle Ben has given us, I will show you, is let's get, oh, I missed my producer. So the answer is number 2. Kwesi will be considered a surviving spouse. He stands to inherit all the estate because Baba did not make a will, unfortunately. The explanation is given. The law is that where one party to a marriage had died after the decree nisi, not known as a conditional order, had been granted, but before the decree absolute, now known as the final order, had been obtained, the divorce suit could not be revived for the purpose of issuing a decree absolute. Accordingly, the court declared that the marriage was still subsiding at the date of the deceased death, and the surviving party could inherit the deceased estate as a spouse under the intestacy rules. Not pleasant. Well, Kwesi Tufo says, I need a t-shirt. Kwesi, I'll think about it. Don't worry. You got your answer correct. Well, Uncle Ben, finally, maybe in a minute or two, Can you just, I've asked you to do that, but for emphasis and for our tradition.
Yeah, well, before I draw the curtain, I want to warn people who are using agents to make applications to come to the UK. Over the last few months, we've realized that people who have come here as students and haven't attended the course and have been sent letters from the Home Office to say, because you haven't attended the course, we're going to cancel your visa and we've given you this number of days. Because they use people who were not legally qualified, whether here or in Ghana, those people created emails specifically for the work. And once they got their visa, they close the email. Now, when you're communicating with Home Office, they will use your last known email. When you made your application, the last known email is what was used for the application. As I sit here, I've got people come to me. She has been given a COS in January, but in December, she was sent an email that by a certain date in January, they were canceling her visa. 3 days after that date, she got a COS. At the time, the woman who issued her the COS, obviously she didn't have a lawyer, so whatever she was doing, she didn't do it properly, and therefore her COS is not valid, and she wasn't given. If she had received the email herself, she could have, advised whoever was giving her the COS to issue the COS and make an application before the date the Home Office. So please, if you're using people to make your application, use qualified people. Because, with a qualified person, their email will always be functional and active. The other thing that I want to advise people is that the e-visa is real. It's happening. We don't want a situation where there's going to be another issue with people who haven't done what they ought to do and then can't stay here, or they've traveled outside and they are stuck outside. So my advice is that if you've got a biometric card, create an account. If you haven't got a biometric card, you've got a wet ink or dry stamp, please create an account. Apply for biometric card, create an account and get it. But above all of us, we don't know when God will call us. I'm sitting here today, God can call me tomorrow, and by the time you hear, they say, Uncle Ben, Ayenya Media. Now, all of us plan that we will live as long as possible. I think that maybe I've got another 50 years ahead of me. It's possible. But it's also possible that when I step out, God will say, Nana, whatever I sent you to do, you've done it. Come back home. Therefore, make sure that whatever little you have, you've put in things, you've made preparations, that when you're not there, it will be distributed according to your will and not the intentions and directions of the UK government. Thank you very much.
Well. It's been another solid 2 hours for us to enjoy the company of Uncle Ben and also enjoy the wealth of knowledge from BWF solicitors. Now, today we have looked at intestacy and how people could lose out. We have learned a lot. We have answered your questions, and I believe that you will be coming back with us on the same journey, same time next week. Thank you very much to Uncle Ben for his time and his generosity. Thank you to BWF Solicitors for your open door policy and also serving the community with all your skills and dexterity. And to you out there, thank you for your time. And I believe that when I ask you to come again, you will definitely respond to that. To my technical producer, Professor Ade, to Sheila Ankre, Padma Dudu, and to everybody that's been part of the program, I want to say Aiko to all of you. Well done and thank you. My name is Owe Frimpon, and this is where we draw the curtains down on the program. We'll meet again same time next week. Good evening.